Like to keep it that way. We are joined by Circuit Court Clerk, Mr. Richard Rooker. Mr. Rooker, if you would please introduce your guest and then just let us know any comments you have on the mayor's proposed budget for your office.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Richard Rooker. I'm the Davidson County Circuit Court Clerk, and this is Ms. Michelle Sawyer, who is my Administrative Service Manager. We've had a great year in the clerk's office. We estimated we'd turn over $5 million in excess fees to the general fund. We did that, and we've estimated to do that again next year. So we've had a good year of collections and running the court system. We can't do it without the judges, so we're thankful to them for their part in this, and they do a good job. As far as the mayor's proposed budget, we can live within the mayor's proposed budget. We're satisfied that we can, we have a $15,000 cut, and we're satisfied that we can make that up fairly easy. So we are satisfied with the proposed budget, and that's all I have. I will be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you very much. Councilman Tiger, you're recognized.
Thank you for being here. Cell phones in your department?
We do not have cell phones. We have 4 employees who receive the Metro allowance, but we do not have any cell phones that we provide.
Okay, and fleet
we
needs?
We have 2 fleet vehicles. One's a records vehicle. We have to drive to Metro Southeast to get our records. And the other vehicle is a vehicle we take to court at Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institute. We have 2 dockets out there a week, and we have to drive out there to have those dockets, but we only have 2.
All right, and a question I breached a little bit with Mr. Cardwell. The workflow in your office, I know some departments have peaks and valleys, certainly Mr. Cardwell with tax collections and getting bills out. Tell me a little bit about the workflow in your office and any peaks that you may have to staff for versus valleys where it's a slow time of year.
We're consistently steady throughout the year. There's not a time where more lawsuits are filed than others. The traffic tickets right now have equaled off, and they're pretty steady throughout the year. So we really are pretty much just a steady operation throughout the year.
So you have a need for consistent labor force, employee force, with no peaks and valleys like some departments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Very much so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Lady Berry, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Rooker, and thank you for coming down today. I just have a quick question. You mentioned that you are going to take a cut, and I see here that it's a staffing reduction. Can you talk about what that staffing reduction is going to look like and what that's going to impact your office's ability to do?
Yeah, we're just, it's not going to be a staffing reduction for us. We are actually going to take it out of office supplies and things of that nature. So we are able to keep all the staff that we have in the Traffic Violations Bureau right now.
So there won't be any impact to services for constituents?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. I don't have any other members in my queue. Council Lady Bennett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Rooker, thank you for your service, and Ms. Sawyer, we appreciate you. I know that my understanding is you do some in-house collections, if you will. I don't know the title of that group of employees, but is that still going on?
Yes, ma'am. It's at the Traffic Warrant Division of our Traffic Violations Bureau. We do have employees who try to collect on outstanding traffic fines. We've kind of lost our ability to do that through tough budget times. We've lost some employees in that department, but we still have a few people who do that all day on a regular basis. We have to by law try to collect. We have 6 months before we can turn it over to collection agency. So we have to by law try to collect those fines and fees.
Is that a fairly successful thing to do in-house? I mean, is it profitable, so to speak, to be doing that in-house?
It is profitable. We have a few tools. The only thing really we can do is garnish someone's wages, levy against a bank account that they have, pick up their vehicle if it's a paid-for vehicle and sell it at auction. The state will suspend their driver's license, so that's an incentive too for folks who have to have their license. But outside of that, it's telephone calls, letters, and just trying to get folks to come in and fulfill their obligations to us.
How much has to go to collections out of? Can you give us some kind of percentages to understand what that looks and feels like?
How many? We've not looked at that. We're getting ready to start turning some of our older tickets over to collection at this point in time. But as far as a percentage, I would say, we collect a good 60 to 65%.
Oh, well, that's really
Yes,
good.
yes, ma'am.
Sounds like it anyway. It sounds like it's a good thing for us to keep doing. So you have sufficient staff to do that, you feel like?
We are not able to do it at the level that we were doing it in years past, but at this point in time, we feel pretty comfortable about where we are in doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Council Lady Langster, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, Mr. Rooker. I did hear you say you returned $5 million to the general fund.
Yes, ma'am. That's the $5 million from the excess fees that our office generates.
Thank you very much for being good stewards of the dollar.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Council Lady Dowell, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just had a quick question, Mr. Rooker. I saw on E25, they had a pay adjustment, and I was wondering what that was, the 25.5.
That's taking out the bonus that was paid to our employees last year. The bonus, instead of they didn't get a raise, so they got a bonus. So they just took that money out of the budget for this year.
You said they got I didn't understand that.
All Metro employees received a bonus last year instead of a pay, like a supplemental paycheck, or in lieu of a raise.
Okay.
So that's money that they took out this year because it's a non-funded.
Okay, so it was a bonus from last year.
Yes, ma'am.
That was allocated for this year that's taken out.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
of the potential pay raise.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Lady Berry.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks again. I wanted to follow up to Council Lady Bennett's question regarding outsourcing the collections. So do you have an outside collection agency that does some of the collections, or is everything done in-house?
Everything right now is done in-house. We are getting ready to use the Metro contracted collection agency for tickets that we feel we've exhausted all of our efforts to collect. So we're going to get ready probably within the next month to start turning monies and tickets over to the collection agency to see if they can be more successful.
And that's an outside organization?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Holloman, you're recognized.
It's a little off subject, but since everybody else has asked, I have a follow-up on collections. In Metro, if you were to go to that outside collection agency, do they take a portion of what is collected, or do they charge an additional fee to the person from whom they've collected? I know it's done differently, different places, and I just wondered how we did it here so that if an outside entity does collect, we get our full money, and they then add an extra fee that's paid by the person who didn't pay in the first place. Do you know?
In looking at the contract, I think they take 21 cents out of every dollar.
So it's actually taken out of, it's a percentage of the collectible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Of what's received, right, of what's collected.
Do you know why Rich, I'm sorry, but while we're on this, do you know why we do that instead of going, I know in the city of Mount Juliet, we actually have an outside collection agent that charges an additional fee so that's not something that the city absorbs.
Yeah, I'm not sure you have authority to charge a fee.
Yeah, I don't think it's legal.
I'm not sure it's legal.
To charge an additional fee?
I don't think.
Court costs are set by
Because
the
you already
state.
got the court cost. All you're recovering is the court cost, which would be set by, What you're authorized to recover is the court costs, which are set by the state. And so to have another fee on top of that, I'm not sure you can do that. But I'm not sure I know the answer to it. But we'll look
We
into
could talk about it offline.
That's a good idea.
Thanks.
It is, Councilman, it is my understanding that you cannot add a fee for collections. The money has to come out of the money that's being collected.
Okay, thanks.
Council Lady Dowell, you wish to be recognized again?
I'm sorry, he asked one of the questions I had about the collection, but I did have one more question about on the bonus side. Now, are all employees paid a bonus? Like, if we don't do a pay increase for next year,
I can help you with that.
will the bonus money be put back in to allocate bonuses to the employees?
Councilor Adele, let me answer that because I can do it for the whole government because you'll see a similar number taken out of all the departments. Right. Last year, each department received money for a 1.5% one-time salary increase bonus for employees. And so that was government-wide, was what was done. And so this year, they'll take that money out, the 1.5%, and then they will get additional money if the council approves the budget with a pay raise to cover the 4% pay raise for Metro employees. So we keep that. If you look in the budget book, you'll see it's in there as an administrative item. $15 million, I think, is the number for pay raises. And at sometime during the year, Finance will send Mr. Rooker enough money to cover all that in his budget for next fiscal year. Again, all that's based on whether the council approves, what the council ultimately approves. And so next year you would face that. This would be reoccurring money, so they would keep it in future years. This was just one-time money that wasn't reoccurring.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
That helps a lot,
Okay.
thank you, because I saw it on quite a few other ones.
It should
Sorry,
be
I just asked it with you, but
no,
I
it should be in almost every one of them, yeah.
Well, you're exactly right, and I saw it on quite a few different line items and was just curious. You just happen to be the lucky person up there to get asked, sorry.
Mr. Rieblin can explain those things a lot better than I can.
Well, thank you for being a good sport.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Council Lady. Councilman Tigard, you're recognized.
I'd like to propose that we settle out of court with the city of Mount Juliet for $1 million, that we won't turn them in if they'll pay us.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Lady Bennett, you're recognized.
Not trying to beat a dead horse or anything, but perchance maybe in the next budget, should we maybe consider hiring another person for collections rather than paying a company to do it? It might be more profitable, if you will.
Because of budget crunches, we've lost 11 employees since 2008. Right. So that greatly affects our abilities to, reach out and touch the folks that we need to talk to try to collect. So,
certainly.
The more people we have in that department, I think we've gone from 8 full-time to maybe 3 full-time. So the more people we have, naturally, the more money we would collect.
It just sounds like you're having a higher success rate with in-house. It'll be interesting to see what this next year brings, paying a company. We may be better off to hire folks to do it ourselves, to be blunt.
A collection agency does have advantages. They can put things on credit reports, and that helps a lot of people come in real quick to pay. We're already doing it on order protection cases at the General Sessions level, and we're seeing collections. But the more people we have in the Warrant office to do that, the higher success rate we're going to have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Lady Johnson, thank you for your patience. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair McGuire. Actually, Council Lady Berry asked the collection question that I had, but I also want to ask Mr. Rooker about the educational incentive. Is that something that is yearly? How often do they have to recertify? And is it only these 2 employees, or are there others in the department who would be taking advantage of this program where that bonus would be paid out?
They have to recertify once a year. They have to receive so many credit hours a year to receive their certified public administrator certificate. And there are people, other people in our organization who that are on our satellite payroll who have taken. I think I have a total of 10.
So is the bonus only one time, though, for each employee once they receive the certificate, and then the recertification is just a matter of carrying out the requirements of the program?
Yes, ma'am. It's a one-time-a-year bonus. They get it every year.
So they get it every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Council Lady Gilmore, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rooker, I had a question about the collection agency. How does that work on who you decide for the collect? How does that process work?
That we decide to use? They're the Metro contracted collection agency.
Okay, so is it a bid? It's already bidded out before? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's already done. It's an agency that handles collections for, I would assume, all of Metro agencies.
Okay, and then the second piece, and I guess the question would be for Mr. Rieblin, are we monitoring those agencies to make sure that they're acting ethically in terms of recouping those funds? Because sometimes there's been issues with collection agencies not, we do have some kind of monitoring in place to make sure that they are following the laws and that they're not abusing the situation, especially during this time of the downturn.
I'm not sure we have an actual someone to monitor the contract. It's if I recall right, it's the law firm, isn't it? Isn't it Mr. Warwick Robinson's law firm?
Yes, sir.
So we have a law firm that's serving as our collection agency as law practice. So I would say that for all the lawyers in the room, they do have a ethical standard that they have to adhere to, and there's sort of procedures that they can follow. And I've not heard any complaints from anyone that said that they're stepping beyond the bounds of where they are. But it's not a bad. It's a fair question, and it's something that we'll take a little look into that. But nothing has come to our attention to indicate that Mr. Robinson and his colleagues in his firm are doing anything that's not permitted and completely ethical within the standards of being a licensed attorney in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I would like for us to go on record and just kind of look at that. There was a story done on that, and a lot of people, not to say this law firm would be acting unethically, but some people just did not know their rights, and it went on their credit report, and it just really prevented them from doing a lot of things, and the process was not there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other members in my queue, Mr. Rooker, Ms. Sawyer, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.